All right, let's talk about zeros. My friend Mickey Shook just posted a really cool video about zeroing and how he zeros the pistol at 10 yards. Go check it out. I'll put a link down in the description. I thought I would share with you guys how I zero, and there's two different ways that I do it. So with the long gun, with the rifle, I typically use some sort of 1x4 or 1:6 optic on there. I don't like to just run a red dot, and that's because of some negative experiences I had back in my former career. And just with target discrimination, identifying a problem, I guess I could tell you real quick. Basically, we had a guy who did a drive-by, actually a walk-by, technically. He ran by the house, lit the house up, and then he was running down the street past the park. We get in the area pretty quickly, get a perimeter set up. I'm at an intersection looking towards a park where I'm looking down a street where he's running towards. So he's going to have to cross the street that I'm posted on. And at the time, I had an AR with an EOTech on it. And I see a guy running, matches the description. Now remember, he's about a block and a half away from me. Matching the description, he's running into a park where there's a bunch of kids. He's got the brown paper bag that they described and everything, same clothing. I come up on him, but I can't see enough of him to make a positive identification because the EOTech has no magnification, and it was about 6 o'clock at night, so starting to get a little bit of dusk at that time of year, so it was really hard to see. And in that moment, the words of my shooting coach, DR Middlebrooks, went through my head where he said, "Hey man, EOTech, aim point, those are all fast, but there's going to be a day where you're going to want a little bit of magnification on there. You're going to want a little bit of glass with some magnification, even if it's just a flip-up magnifier, those little 3x flip-ups that you could buy back then." And I kind of scoffed when he told me that and thought, I'm always in a house. I'm always, real close, like room distance from my targets. What am I ever going to need magnification for? Well, there it was. I needed magnification. I did get on the air, radioed, let him know, units further down, and it ended up being him, ended up grabbing him, and thankfully he didn't do anything bad in the park. His target was the house that he shot up, and then he just took off running. So thankfully it wasn't an active killer situation, but one of those things where had I had some magnification, would have been able to see this guy, make a determination on what I need to do next. So since that time, I have immediately, I went home, got off my shift, went home, and ordered a 1x4 power scope to throw on my AR, my work AR. So all my ARs now carry those. So that's kind of the background on that. Pistols, I've been a fan of red dots for a long time. So when I sight in the rifle, here's what I do. Typically, I will use a bore, like a laser bore sighter type thing, just to kind of make sure I'm on the paper, right? So I'll put the laser bore sight on there through the bore of the rifle, put it on the target at 25 yards, and then I will dial in the reticle. So I will adjust the reticle, dial it in so that I'm where I need to be in relation to the laser. And then, now to back up a little bit, what I'll do is, target, right? So let's say, this is my target, right? So that's my target, basically. Hopefully you guys can see that. You see that okay? All right, so that's my target. I get the laser through the bore. So let's say the laser through the bore is right here, right? So at 25 yards, I'm going to walk down there, and according to what zero I'm using, whether it's a 5200 or 100 yard zero, I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to make a mark where the holdover should be, or where I would expect the impact to be, right? So where I'm aiming and where the impact actually is going to occur based on height over bore of the rifle, I'll make a mark there, and then I'll come back to my optic and I'll dial it in so that the reticle or whatever it is on that mark. Does that make sense? And then what I'll do, get the bore sight out of it, or get the laser out of there, put a mag in, charge it up, and send 3 rounds. And then hopefully 3 rounds will be somewhere in here, right where they're supposed to be. And then I'll go through the rest of the process of sighting, making sure everything's lined up and where it's supposed to be. And then of course, as with every zero on a rifle, particularly on a rifle, I'm going to go ahead and walk it out to 100 yards, out to 200, out to 300, and make sure that I've got my dope, make sure I know where my point of aim, point of impact is at each range. And it should be dead on with what we all know the zero for a rifle should be. I switched over to a 200-yard zero, what some people call fire and forget. I switched over to that, man, I want to say about 15 years ago, I switched over to that, and I really like it. I really like it because you don't have to do a whole lot of math. The round's going to impact within about 3 inches up or down based on where you are, out to 200 yards. So I like that aspect. However, I understand the other argument, which is the 100-yard zero. Yeah, I get it. I get both. I don't even want to get into the arguments. Like, I've heard them all. I've had them all. Or rather, I've listened to them. I don't argue about those things because I don't feel like I have enough knowledge to speak with authority on those issues, especially when I have guys who are marksmen, guys who have done a lot of work in that field. I listen and take notes and then apply. So that's where it's at for the rifle. So that's how I sight the rifle. Basically, laser bore sight, get it close, put a mag in there, send 3 or 4, make sure I'm pretty close. Or the other way you can do it if you don't have the laser bore sight is you put your reticle down here, right? You put 3 rounds on the target. So say we have 3 rounds, 1, 2, 3. So you put 3 rounds on the target. And then what I'm going to do is, say my reticle is, I was holding right here. All I'm going to do, now this is on a bagged rifle, always bagged in. I'm going to dial the optic until I move this over to here. I'm not going to try to move the round. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to move this over. So I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to move this over to here until that's what's happening. It's dead on right there. And then what I'll do is I will change my point of aim to here, and every single time the rounds end up hitting in here. So that's kind of the way I do it, the way I was taught to do it, and it works really well. It saves a lot of time. I'm not, doing aiming here and then having the rounds over here, and then I'm trying to like move 2 things at once. Instead, I'm seeing where the rounds go. I move the reticle to the rounds, and that kind of simplifies it. Now, on the pistol, the way I sight in the pistol is I sight at 12 yards, and that's based on input from DR back in the day, because he sighted his open pistols and the pistols that he would build for guys. They would sight them at 12 because of the math. It would end up being dead on at 25. So you would pretty much have relatively flat shooting point of aim, point of impact within just like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch in and out to 25 yards. Now, I'm not 100% on the math on that, but that's what we would do. And so say the target's here. If I hold the pistol, so red dot, right? You can see the red dot is on the dot, right? See that? But the bore is below the dot. So the bore is right here. So the bore would be right here. So 5 yards, give or take, we're going to have impact here. Holding here, impact here. So that's about almost an inch of difference, of variation from 0 to 5. From 5 to 10, it becomes less, 10 to 12. And then from 10 to 25, it becomes the variation is in the other direction. So it's pretty interesting. But what I've found is that when I zero my pistols, whether it's iron sights, you know, I like adjustable sights on all my guns. I want to be able to dial my pistols in based on the load that I'm shooting. For the most part, I'm shooting nowadays, I'm shooting a Super Vel defensive round, carry round. So it's a lightweight round going really fast, and I zero it to that round, and then whatever happens with my practice ammo is what happens. But I feel it's more important to zero my carry guns with my carry ammo. So when I was using the various other guns that are out there, the Hornady, Corbin ammo. I was using the various ammos that are out there for pistols, Corbin, Hornady, Federal, whatever. A lot of times what I was issued, I had to carry in my off-duty pistol as well. And a lot of times my off-duty pistol was based just my issued carry pistol. I just carried the same gun all the time. And what we found was that, or what I have found in zeroing, is that I wanted an adjustable sight. Even if it was iron sights, I wanted an adjustable sight because point of aim, point of impact could vary a little bit, and I just wasn't ever happy with that. I wanted to know that mechanically the pistol is as accurate as possible, precise as possible, and then the rest is up to me. I got to do my job. Now, if there's a miss or a drop, or, you know, then that's on me, but the pistol is good to go. If I put it in a rest and I press the trigger, it's going to put 3, 4, 5 rounds right on top of each other, or at least within a fist-sized group at 50 yards. Or, yeah, so whatever the Department of Defense standard is. So I think it's 4 inches at 50. Could be wrong on that, but I can't remember sometimes. But that was always my expectation mechanically from the pistol and the ammo combination, and then the rest is up to me. I just got to train to get there. So I'm zeroing at 12. That gives me almost point of aim, point of impact, direct on spot at 12. And then at 25, again, right back on it, point of aim, point of impact. A little bit of variation up and down, but not enough to cause me to lose sleep at night. Like, not enough to cause me to have a pearl clutching moment. Because again, even if we're here and here at 25 yards or 15 yards, that is that, and I'll take it. All right, that's how I zero. That's what I zero for, what I think about when I zero. Again, like I said, the height over bore thing, you got to learn that, figure out what that is for your pistol and for your rifle. And hopefully that helped you guys a little bit. Again, 30 posts in 30 days. Hit record. Don't stop. Don't edit. Hit stop. Post right away. That's what we're doing, man. Hope you guys are enjoying it. See you on the next one.